or human flesh, but magnificent creatures perfectly adjusted to their surroundings and the most highly developed of marine predators. Of the 375 species of shark cataloged throughout the world, 100 frequent South African waters, but less than a quarter of them are considered dangerous to man. Vic's main studies deal with ragged-toothed sharks, or raggies, which return here every spring to the Aliwal Shoal, about 30 miles from the city of Durban. Day after day, Vic dives in search of raggies. Like all marine animals, sharks are very hard to study in their natural habitat. Observation time is limited. Each dive lasts less than an hour, and the cold can make the work unbearable. Nevertheless, Vic wants to take advantage of this season to extend his study, since information on this species of shark is very incomplete. Vic's main objective is to determine exactly how long the raggies stay on the reef, basking in waters 60 to 90 feet deep. To solve this enigma, he has to identify the individuals and see if he meets the same ones from one day to the next. Long years of research have enabled scientists to identify Aliwal Shoal as a meeting point, a stopover on the migratory route of these sharks. The females give birth further south and then head north, where their next gestation will take place. In the meantime, they take a break here off the west coast of South Africa. The males appear, seemingly from out of nowhere, to join the females. The mating season is on. In spite of his 10-foot body and his impressive jaw, the ragged-toothed shark is relatively peaceful. He feeds on fish he hunts especially at night, as well as lobster and large crabs. During their underwater encounters, man and beast keep their distance. If each one stays in his place, everything goes well. And it's strongly advisable when you're surrounded by about 40 sharks. To identify individual sharks, Vic often makes use of old wounds inflicted by fishermen in past attempts to capture them. Hook, named so because of the hook implanted in his jaw, is easy to spot. Old Gill was undoubtedly caught in a net and tore his gills. As for Stumpnose, his muzzle was cut by a fishing line. Josephine's white scars on top of her head are the result of past couplings. During reproduction, the male grips the female with his teeth. These bites are supposed to stimulate the female. Love can be violent where sharks are concerned. Back ashore, Vic notes the movements of the sharks he identified on a map. All these means of identification, however, do not last very long.
My initial research was based on hooks, tags and identification through short-term processes. However, of course, hooks can fall out when they rust, and I need a longer-term identification method.
Vic therefore adopted the more long-term method of photo identification based on natural spots found on the sharks' bodies. Each individual has his own unique pattern. Vic decides to photograph the sharks from gills to tail in order to create a new catalog. On his very first dive, he finds new individuals. Spot has very special markings on his second dorsal fin. Quarterfin has a malformation of his ventral fins. The spots distributed on the bodies of sharks serve as bait. They attract very small predators who in the darkness mistake these bright marks for schools of fish. All the shark has to do is speed up a little, open his mouth, and gulp them down. After a few days of searching, some unexpected characters come to complete Vic's collection. Soon, he will know the number of sharks concentrated on the reef. Then he will have to determine if they are the same animals who stay there throughout the entire mating season, or if these individuals are simply passing through. Encouraged by his progress, Vic increases the number of his daily dives. Spring may be the mating season for reggies, but for humans, spring also means the beginning of the vacation season, and the tourist invasion begins. When sharks sense the presence of dead fish and blood, they become frenetic about food. This excitement makes them extremely dangerous. At this time of the year, however, it's easy to come across sharks, and without the need of such bait. In a very short space of time, Aliwal Shoal has become a very popular diving spot for thrill-seeking vacationers. Many of them don't realize how lucky they are to get so close to sharks in their natural surroundings. Instead, their minds are on the impression their vacation photos will make on their friends once they get home. Most tourists are unaware of the effect their behavior can have on the natural balance of things. Bothering females in their reproduction area can endanger this site in the long run. Raggies do not lay eggs, but give birth to completely formed babies. First, 15 or so embryos develop in the mother's 2 uteruses. Even at this stage, their predator nature is affirmed. Very quickly, the strongest of the brood attacks and devours his brothers and sisters. After 9 months of gestation, only 2 little cannibals remain, 1 per uterus. The reproduction rate of these sharks is therefore relatively low. This is why Vic is very attentive to the well-being of these animals during their stay on the reef. If a diver gets out of hand, Vic is very quick to intervene. and more tourists